look ahead to the next one because it's going to be a crucial one, particularly for the men from up north. This is what we have. A final game for Mumbai in Chennai before they move on. This is game number 17, Punjab against Mumbai. Punjab have pretty much just got to Chennai. They've not found the conditions to their liking. How will they turn things around quickly? A little bit of a reverse to the kind of discussion we had about Mumbai and a team welcomed into Mumbai like Bangalore, who did so well there. So let's start with Team Punjab. Sean, what are the kind of problems they address and how do they adapt quickly enough? Because Mumbai are serious opposition.
Yeah, they are. And the thing about Mumbai, they've got the options that they can use, particularly in the bowling department. I mean, we saw the other night. I mean, Rohit's bowled some, Pollard's played his part at times. So they really can just mix things up according to how the surface goes. I can't see them changing much with regards to their team. Javed Yadav is probably the only option that they might consider bringing something else in. But yeah, a really strong unit. And I mean, they really have come to terms with the surface now. They must have a real good understanding. One last push and then they move on. And I think they'll be a very difficult team to beat because we've seen in a lot of situations, even when they haven't posted as much as they could have, they've still been really competitive, almost down to that last delivery. And there's a few guys who need to kick on. I think Quinton de Kock would want to get more. Hardik Pandya would want to contribute more. So they'll be chomping to really get on and play better. And I'm sure Rohit Sharma's got over whatever kept him off the field last night. So they should be at full strength. Well, Punjab, sure. I don't know what to say. I don't know how quickly they can adapt. And I think it's going to be a real challenge for them to adapt to those conditions to be able to post. And then the bowling wise, how can they use enough of their staff to be able to create pressure? I don't see them pushing Mumbai. I mean, if you had to say to me, I had to put my house in it, I would think Mumbai should win this one comfortably.
But fair enough. Your house has generally been leaning towards Mumbai, so that's fine, Sean. We won't question you on that one. We'll come to Punjab in a moment. I think since we started the discussion and saw the Mumbai team, let's finish off that, Pami. With Punjab coming in there, trying to adapt to the conditions, but with what happened in that previous game, how will Mumbai view this contest?
I don't think they'd be looking at their opposition too much or underestimating their opposition. I don't think you can afford to do that because a couple of players have a good game and that's that. That such is the format. It can work out like that. I think that essentially Mumbai still have to try and get a game together, and by that I mean, yes, they've done okay and they've got all the qualities. They are the champion side. That's what they are in terms of covering bases and being able to play on that surface. In terms of their bowling, they're able to do that, right? They're able to mix and match, and as Sean was talking about with regard to, taking pace off on a surface that's quite slow, they're able to do that. But the way things have gone for them in terms of batting, they prefer surfaces like here at Wankhede, where all those guys in their lineup, from Quinton de Kock, who you're saying, needs to find a groove, Rohit himself, Pollard, Hardik, they all would like to be on a surface that's a bit quicker. So they kind of have to mind their P's and Q's and try and make sure they're putting a score on the board if they're batting first, and having to deal and respect the surface that they have, because essentially it doesn't matter who they come up against, they can come unstuck on a surface like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you put that out because it's the P's and Q's they need to mind. Pandya and Quinton, they're the ones who need to come firing for Mumbai if they're to really dominate that in a season that's been up and down. 2-1, 2 lost, but the 2 that they lost could easily have been games that they won, but they're a champion side, as you mentioned. This contest, gentlemen, if we can take you back to last season, was the only one in history that's produced a double super over. Yes, it was Punjab against Mumbai. That was a bizarre cricket match. If we have anything even close to that, it should be a cracker. But Sean, now moving to Punjab, they're a side who have been ringing in the changes. They need to have a settled lineup. They're settled up front. They'd want KL Rahul to try and find the surface more to his liking. But otherwise, do you see them looking around for any other reinforcements on this pitch?
Yeah, Rahul, Agarwal, Chris Gale at the top. I mean, those three are perfect. Nicholas Pooran, I know he's run out without facing a delivery, so you can't really judge him too much. But Deepak Huda was the one who, for me, he got off to a start. He played that wonderful innings in Mumbai, and I thought, okay, they've got another one. Shahrukh Khan's had a few good lusty blows as the tournament's gone on. So you'll get a contribution there. But I suppose it's the Pooran contribution, something that can be a little bit more reliable if those top three don't get going. Because on that kind of surface, it's often the case that you have to take a risk in order to try and keep up with the rate. And that's often where you can lose the wicket. It's not like we've just seen now where you can just whack it around and not lose a wicket and win by 10 wickets. So I think that'll be the challenge. And then also trying to find the people to do the jobs for from the bowling perspective. They've rung a few changes. They've tried few different personnel. I'm still looking for three individuals in particular to stand up and continually be relied on to produce their 4 overs and produce them well. That's how you get over the line. That's how you win. I mean, you look at the Mumbai side, and I mean, you've got Bolt. You're going to bank on his 2 up front and 2 at the death. You've got Bumrah. You're going to bank on Chahar, giving you those 4 overs, and then you can kind of mix it from then. And you've still got an international star, depending on who they decide to go with in the bowling department. I just don't see enough of that from Punjab.
Interesting.
Jumbled minds. They seem like a jumbled minds side. And I say that because of selection and not just this season, last season as well. They just continually ring the change. So they'll lose a game because they haven't batted well, and they'll change their bowlers. And you think, well, I don't understand what that means. Like I don't quite get the changes they made. In the last game, I think they made 3 changes as well, and they brought Fabian Allen in.
Moses Henriques.
Yeah, Moses Henriques in, and you say, well, why are you doing that? And you think, okay, well, more all-rounders, but why are you doing more all-rounders? Are you trying to bolster the batting? Are you saying you want to, go harder for longer? Because there was a strike rate thing about KL Rahul. He played those 50 balls that didn't kick on at any point, haven't batted up at the front. It's a tough thing when a side doesn't get started and they're searching, trying to figure out a way that they can make the whole team click. In times past, it's been a case of trying to sort out one bit, which was probably, let's try and work on the finishing in terms of the bowling, or let's try and work on the finishing from the middle order in terms of the batting, because they're getting it up at the front with Mayank and KL. But this time around, it's just everything everywhere. So yeah, they kind of put your hand here and there's a hole there, and you put your hand there and there's a hole there. So, and all in the space of a few games. So yeah, it's a tough place for them to be. And in the end, you just need your biggest players, your most senior players, to be the ones that can get up. It's tough when you go 3 on the bounce, isn't it?